Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to add links to a Google Slides presentation. So this is something you're going to have to do in your project when you are giving the viewer different options that will then lead them to different slides in the presentation. So the first thing you're going to need to do is actually add your buttons or your links. So I'm going to go up here to Shapes. It doesn't matter which one I choose, but the shapes are going to become a text box, so you want them to be large enough that you can actually type in them. So I'm going to choose this rounded rectangle here, and just because I'm a little OCD, I want both of my buttons to be exactly the same. So I'm going to move them over. So I've got two identical buttons here because I'm going to be talking about, in my presentation, two different causes of antibiotic resistance. So you can change the backgrounds of these, you can change the fill and make them look a different color, that's up to you. But what I like about them is I can just double click inside this box and then I can type. So I'm going to do one button for cause 1, and then I'm going to do a separate button for cause 2. And so my goal here is that the viewer, when they're actually looking at this presentation, if they click on this button for cause 1, it is going to bring them directly to a slide that's talking about the first cause of antibiotic resistance. And then when they click on the second button here, it should bring them to a second slide. So because I have two different options for the viewer to go to, I am going to be adding two different slides to my presentation. And so my goal is here that if I click on cause 1, that is going to bring them to this slide here, which I'm going to go ahead and label as cause 1. So the way to do this is I am going to make sure the entire box is highlighted. I don't want to just have the word cause highlighted because that would mean that the viewer has to actually click on that one word in order to move. I want them to be able to click on the entire button anywhere. So you're going to right click to get this drop down menu, and I'm going to click on link. So I want this here, it says slides in the presentation. I'm going to click on this button, and you can see for me this is kind of coming halfway off my computer. If you can't see any of these drop down menus, just temporarily move your box upward. You can move it later. But I'm going to click on link, slides in the presentation, and I want this to go to slide 2 because that's where I'm going to put my information about cause 1. So I'm going to come down here and click on slide 2, and you'll notice it kind of tells you what's already on that created slide. So I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click apply. And then I'm actually going to move this down here, and I should be good to go. And so I can actually test this now and see if I click on cause 1, it brings me right to this page here. Okay, so I know it's working. So I'm going to do the same thing here with cause 2. I'm going to right click, I've got the entire box highlighted, not just the words. I'm going to link, and I want this to link, and again I can't see it, so I'm going to move it up. I want this to link to slide 3 this time, because slide number 3 is where I'm going to put my information about cause 2. I'm going to apply it, move it back down. Alright, so now if I present here, if I click on cause 1, it goes to cause 1. If I click on cause 2, it goes directly to cause 2. Now, when we're making our presentation for our project, we don't want our viewer to just be able to click the left and right arrows to move through. We want them to actually have to click on buttons in order to move to the proper slides that they should be going to. So that means on these slides here, I don't want my viewer to just click the right arrow to move on to cause 2. I want them to have to go back to slide number 1. So I'm actually going to add, and I'm going to do this as, let's do an arrow this time. I'm actually going to include a button on this slide for them to go back home because I want them to have to return back to that first slide every time to move on. And so you'll be doing this in your game where if the player makes a bad decision and, for example, they die of dehydration, you want them to have to go all the way back up to slide 1 and start again. You don't want them to just hit the left arrow to go all the way back. They have to actually click on the home button you create to go back home. So for this one, I am going to add a link. I want this to go back to slide 1. So I'm going to click on first slide, or you can click on actually slide 1, and then I'm going to hit apply. Now I actually want this on both slide 2 and slide 3. So rather than going through that whole process again, I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to copy. Of course, it's going to yell at me. So I'm going to copy. Then over here, I'm going to hit paste. So I didn't have to do that all over again. It's doing it for me. So to make sure I have everything correct, clicking on cause 1, it's bringing me to the cause 1 slide. Then I'm going to hit home, and it brings me right back here. Now if I want to go to cause 2, I click on my button, it's bringing me to cause 2, and then I click home, and it brings me right back here. All right. So if you have any questions throughout your project of how to do this, before you talk to me directly, make sure you come back and watch this video again. Okay, bye.